Why are little sister animes so popular? Are we not burnt out on them yet? I mean, there's been an influx of these since 2010, and most of them have over 100,000 viewers out west, at least according to Mal. Let's do some quick maths. Here's a list of 9 little sister shows I found on my anime list. Yosuga no Sora, Koikaze, OreImo, Oni-e, Imacho, Eromanga Sensei, OreImo, Kisexis, and Onisuki. Now, together, they total around 1,500,000 viewers, and that's a mean of 165,000 viewers for each show. Even though this isn't a true sample size, I think it does show that there is an audience for this type of show out west, and the fact that these series are still being produced is evidence of their popularity in Japan. I'm not even counting the abundance of shows that have little sister characters in them. These are the ones that have a sole focus on the little sister character and their relationship with the main guy. So, the question is, why? What is keeping these shows coming? Is the audience not fatigued from oversaturation? Are they just so good that they keep people coming back for more? Do people not care about the quality of a show if there's one important factor involved in it? And why do we keep getting little sister shows when the definitive one came out over a decade ago? Now, I'm going to go over the 4 of these shows I have seen to try and contrast and compare them to find out, is there any worth and why are we still getting them? Let's start with the big one, OreImo. It's an interesting one because out of all these shows, it has by far the most mainstream appeal. Its first season having 100,000 more total listed members on Mal than Kisexis, its nearest competitor. I'm going to tell you the score I gave each show before I talk about it. For OreImo, I gave its first season a 7 and its second season a 4. Now, I did include the specials in these scores instead of scoring them separately. This brought the first season up and the second season down. Let's first ask what the innate appeal of OreImo is. I think it's the characters, not just the character designs, which almost all of these shows excel at, but watching them interact is genuinely entertaining. It's what gives it its mainstream appeal. In fact, this is why you will see the Season 1 specials, which notably lack Kirino for the most part, are rated a fair bit higher than anything else in the series. More on that later. Its comedy can be surprisingly decent. The first time around, I remember getting a fair few laughs out of it. That one girl who keeps making the guys uncomfortable by shipping them together was a personal favourite, but Kirino's reaction to her visual novels, along with Kyosuke's, as well as the disdain with which some people treat him, are also worth a few chuckles, fam. This is not to say the comedy doesn't occasionally fall flat. I can remember quite a few tropey scenes that made me groan, but they weren't enough to really annoy me to the point that they outweighed the first season's positives. It was also nice that our main character didn't start off on great terms with all of the female characters. The only girl who clearly likes him is Manami, and he is clearly not that interested in her. Other than that, Kirino doesn't particularly like him to begin with. He doesn't know Kuroneko or Sayori. Ayase very quickly comes to despise what she thinks he's doing to Kirino, and the other minor girls are similar. In Season 1, at least, it didn't seem very harem-y, rather more like a straight romance. Contrast this to Eromanga Sensei, in which every girl wants the main character's penis within about 0.1 seconds of meeting him, an endeavour which is ultimately pointless because it's established from the get-go that he has eyes only for his sister. The first scene sets this up very clearly in that show. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here, but OreImo is not presented like that. Its first scene is of a black-haired Kirino waking Kyosuke out of bed. Now, Kirino never has black hair other than in this scene. I take it to mean that Kyosuke wants a girl like his sister who isn't his sister. To begin with, this is why he finds Ayase so attractive. She shares the side of Kirino he knows most, her public, successful side, and of course, she has black hair. Then Kuroneko, who he actually ends up dating, shares Kirino's otaku side and again has dark hair, not black hair, but close enough. Both of them are like his sister, but are not her. And this means that the show is able to have actual tension, especially after the Season 1 specials. After them, there's no guarantee that Kyosuke ends up with any girl, and in fact, it seems like there are only 2 real options for a majority of it, Kuroneko and Kirino. I thought the show was at its strongest when it focused on Kirino's jealousy of Kuroneko. That of course leads us to the show's biggest failing, its third act. After Kyosuke and Kuroneko split, the show starts tumbling down into a hill of awfulness, picking up speed as it goes. So fast does it do this that it completely bypasses 88 miles per hour and is unable to go back in time to rectify its mistakes. Suddenly, every girl in the show wants Kyosuke's dick, and some of them from literally out of nowhere. It strikes me as if the writer wanted to have an ending where he goes full incest at the start, but somewhere along the line he got off track and had to try and force the story back in the direction he wanted it to go. This wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if it turned out to be actually true. I mean, why else would you put in these actually interesting dynamics? Why wouldn't you just make it clear that you were going for the ending that was expected from the show's title? Like, it served to make me actually question whether it would go down the route I thought it was going to from the start. So I was even more pissed off when it did in fact go that way. I mean, the writer's next project basically is OreImo without any of the interesting stuff anyway. This is by no means the show's only fault, though it is its biggest one by a long shot. Whilst things like the seriousness with which Kirino professes her love for porn were downright cringe-worthy, they didn't ultimately make me want to turn the show off. It always felt like it was going somewhere until suddenly it wasn't. What does it do differently to other little sister shows, though, and how did that resonate with the audience? Unfortunately, even though Season 2's specials are rated significantly lower than any of its other parts, on my anime list at least, it was an ending that would have satisfied neither the people who wanted a non-incest ending nor the ones who actually did, and as such, it doesn't really give too clear-cut an idea on anything. I think, however, it separates itself from the competition by A, having a legitimately likeable cast, and B, trying to give the incestuous relationship some actual context. By this I mean that there is a reason given for why they would like each other, and I think that makes it easier for people to get behind. Other shows tend to just have the sister love the main guy from the get-go. Having the relationship have some actual substance and also be grown over the course of the show is different. And let's not kid ourselves. The fact that Kuroneko existed was a huge part of this show's mainstream appeal. I mean, it had to be. Another viable option who isn't blood-related? Impossible! I'm going to leave it there for this video. In the next one we'll push forward and look at Kiss X Sis and Eromanga Sensei. Let me know if you'd like me to go more in depth into OreImo, because I do have a whole bunch more to say about it. This is really only an overview for comparison purposes. I recently rewatched the first 4 episodes with some mates and found a whole lot of things to critique, nitpick, and to like about the show, so let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching.